Ashley and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to finally be reorganizing my bookshelf, which you can see in the back here are a mess and are overflowing with books again. The last time I organized them was sometime last year, so it is definitely time to organize them again. And then after I organize them, I'll also give a bookshelf tour, and I'll go shelf by shelf so you can see exactly what books are on my shelves. I know that I'm probably going to end up putting some of the books on these shelves downstairs in storage just because I don't have enough shelf room for everything anymore. And there are just some older books on my shelves that I know I'm not going to be rereading anytime soon, so I'm just going to put those away until one day we move out of this apartment and get a bigger place and I can have a whole library full of books. But until then, I just gotta work with what I have. So first, I'm going to take all the books off my shelves and put them on my bed, which is where I'm sitting right now. And then I'm gonna dust off all the shelves and then put the books back on. So here we go. So my shelves are now empty, except for this very top shelf up here that you can't see because this top shelf is just my husband and I's memory shelf. And then this very bottom one, which you also can't see, I also just left everything on there because it's just notepads and binders and sewing books. So that one's just gonna stay as it is. But otherwise, all these shelves are empty. My books are all on the bed. A few are on the floor because I was running out of room up here. So now I'm going to dust these off because they're really dusty. And then I'll start the process of reorganizing and putting them back on the shelves. Hi, so I am back and I have got my bookshelves in order now. I'm just going to go through each shelf and show you my books. So starting with my leftmost bookshelf, I have my Twilight books, and then the Host, and then my Throne of Glass books, the first Crescent City, and then the next shelf, the second Crescent City, A Court of Thorns and Roses, King of Battle and Blood, The Coldest Touch, Pumpkin Everything, and Maple Sugar Crush, Spells for Forgetting, What We Harvest, Small Flavors, House of Salt and Sorrows, Small Town Big Magic, Spells Trouble, Wild is the Witch, The Nature of Witches, The Hollow, The Haunted, The Foxglove King, The Diviners, Lair of Dreams, Before the Devil Breaks You, and 6 Crimson Cranes. So this shelf is my supernatural / fall / witchy shelf. And then the shelf below that, we have a lot of my contemporary romances. And also The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because I wasn't sure where to put it. So we have Pride and Prejudice, Bedazzled, The Edge of Never, The Edge of Always, Lease on Love, The Truth About Forever, Do Not Fall in Love, A Taste for Love, Finley Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead, I Love You So Mochi, Beach Read, The Library of Lost Things, Tokyo Ever After, Tokyo Dreamin', Geekarella, Fall Love Story, Finley Donovan is Killing It, Better Together, Happy Place, The Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany, Rosaline Palmer Takes the Cake, Book Lovers, The Bodyguard, and there's actually a tiny bit of space on here for a couple more books. And then the one below it is all my Vampire Academy books and the spin-off series Bloodlines. And those two are two of my favorite series. And then we have Soundless, which is also by Rochelle Mead, Legends and Lattes, and then my middle grade books. So the Two Princesses of Bamere, Twitches, Kiki's Delivery Service, Ava Evergreen, Ava Evergreen and the Cursed Witch, 3 Crowns of Crosswalled Books, and The Frost Fair. Now moving on to my second bookshelf. The top shelf has all my Shadowhunter books. And then below it we have my Once Upon a Broken Heart shelf, which is one of my favorite shelves. And I have space here because I'm going to need it when my copies of A Curse for True Love come in. And then below that we have the Caraval series, and then Ravel, The Night Circus, Sorcery of Thorns, Enchantment of Ravens, Vespertine, Forfwing, and I have a little dragon here that actually glows in the dark. And then A Shadow in the Ember, A Light in the Flame, the From Blood and Ash books, and then my little Sei figure, and she's from the anime or light novel The Saint's Magic Power is Omnipotent. And she also has healing powers like Poppy, so that's why I put her near the From Blood and Ash series. And we have On These Black Sands and From These Dark Depths. And then Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And then my little wood print of Castile and Poppy. And then the shelf below that has all my Fairy Loot books on it. And I don't have a Fairy Loot subscription anymore, so there really shouldn't be any books added to this shelf unless I decide to get a Fairy Loot subscription again, which I might at some point in the future, but if I do, it'll be a while still. So we have Princess of Souls, An Arrow to the Moon, Twin Crowns, Only a Monster, The Darkening, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, Violet Made of Thorns, Daughter of the Moon Goddess, Belladonna, Heart of the Sun Warrior, This Vicious Grace, Year of the Reaper, Cruel Illusions, One Dark Window, The One Sweet Burn, and then my special editions of Halls Within Castle, Castle in the Air, and House of Many Ways. And then we have the Six of Crows duology, and then a book called Ash, which is special to me because my cousin gave it to me, and it's also my nickname that she calls me. And then the shelf beneath that, we have the little Rowlet terrarium that I made my husband, and then the Graceling series, which is one of my favorite fantasy series. So we have Graceling, Fire, Bitterblue, Winterkeep, and Sea Sparrow. And then we have the Cursebreaker series, so A Curse So Dark and Lonely, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and A Vow So Bold and Deadly. And then we have Fortune Silver into Stars, Defy the Night, Defend the Dawn, The Prison Healer, The Gilded Cage, The Blood Trader, Wistress, Among the Beasts and Briars, A Magic Steeped in Poison, For the Wolf, Smuggler's Kiss, Wicked Lovely, and Fragile Eternity. And then the last shelf on this bookcase has my 2 Tea Dragon Society books, the Aragon series, and then that Arthur's other book, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, the Moon Chosen series, all my Harry Potters, and my Harry Potter Nendroids, the Hunger Games, and then a Hunger Games photo book. So those are all the books back on the bookshelves. So now let's talk about the books that I'm going to be putting downstairs in the basement. And these are books that I still want to hold on to, but I probably won't be reading for a while. So we have this book, and I got this a long time ago, and I have read it, but it's book 3 in a series, and I don't have the first 2 books. I think I might have borrowed like the first 2 books from the library, but couldn't get the third one from the library, so I had to go buy it. And I don't remember much about this, except that I think it's about a guardian angel protecting a girl or something. So there's that. So that's this book. That's one book that's going downstairs in the basement. And then I have these 2 here, which is one of Jennifer Armentrout's series, and this one is The Dark Elements. And someday I want to reread this one, but that probably won't be anytime soon, so down in the basement it goes. And then the same with these, the Lux series, another series by Jennifer Armentrout. These I've read before and I will probably reread someday, but not for a while. And then we have this Buffy the Vampire Slayer book, which I love the Buffy TV show, and one of my friends got me this, I think, for my birthday one year. I think I might have started it and then never finished it, and I still want to read it someday, but I know it's going to be a while until I get to it, so it's going to go in the basement. And then I have this Folk and Fairy Tales book, and this was actually one that I got for a college class. It has all different fairy tales from different cultures. So I want to hold on to this one because someday I want to go through and read those stories again. And then this trilogy, which is a fairy trilogy that I read a while back, and I really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to reread it anytime soon, so it's going to the basement. And joining those books is Crave, because this book I have mixed feelings about. When I started reading it, I was having a really good time, but then I kind of lost interest in it at some point, and I got bored, and I still finished it, but by the end I just didn't really care anymore about what was going on, and I was so bored. And even though this ended on like a cliffhanger, I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. So I might give the series a second shot someday, but for now, into the basement it goes. And then this one is a 3-in-1 fairy book, and I really enjoyed this. I actually think the first time I read it all in a day, and someday I want to reread it again, but for now, into the basement it goes. And then this one is The Beast Player, and I actually haven't read this yet, but I don't think I'm going to be reading it anytime soon, but I want to give it a shot someday, but for now, it's going to go into the basement. And then Cinder, The Lunar Chronicles. This one I actually listened to on audiobook and I liked it. But then I got to the second book, Scarlet, I think, and I was listening to that on audiobook and I got really far through it and I just kind of stopped and never went back to it. And maybe one day I'll pick up the series again, but for now, it's just on hold. And then this one is Wither. And I think I might have read this when I was a teenager, but I don't actually remember it. And it's one that came from my shelves at my parents'. And I'd like to reread it sometime, but I just don't want to right now. So it's going with this pile. This one, Spark, is actually one that I bought at Barnes & Noble on my birthday. Maybe like 3 or 4 years ago now. And I haven't read it yet, because I didn't realize until I got home that this is actually the second book in a series, and I haven't read the first yet, so I have to get a hold of that one first in order to read this one, but I just haven't gotten there yet. And then we have the middle grade book, The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I've read this one, I liked it, I just don't have any intentions of rereading it anytime soon. Same with this one. Is a middle grade thriller, The Winterborn Home for Vengeance and Valor. I like this and I enjoyed it, and I want to someday hopefully pick up the second one. It's just not at the top of my list right now. And then We Hunt the Flame. I read this one. I enjoyed it. I still need to read the second one, but I have a feeling I won't be getting to the second one for a while. And then the Shadow Fall series will also be going down to the basement. Oh, and there's the third book in the Dark Element series. So that will join the others. And then Dragon Rider, similarly. This is actually by the same author, I believe, as Inkheart. But I haven't read this one in years, but I know when I did, I enjoyed it. And it was a charming little story about a dragon who goes on adventures with some friends. And one day I would like to read this again, but I just don't know when, so down into the basement it's going. And then one final series that someday I will reread, but not anytime soon, so it's joining the other books in the basement, is The House of Night. Alright, so we're at the end of the video now. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me rearrange my bookshelves, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!